Shopify SEO versus Squarespace SEO, website development comparisons. This is the room for the day. This is a conversation for the day. And I gotta say that these two platforms are going to be one of a kind because they are different from WordPress and Webflow, which we talked about yesterday. WordPress is intense, Webflow is intense. Those are two very well known web platforms, or I can call them CMS platforms. You can call it that too. But also Shopify and Squarespace are equally very important too. So we're going to talk about this today. Welcome Amy, Anon, Brian, Jenny, Bettina. Thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat about any of these two platforms that we'll discuss today. We'll be here for about an hour and let's see how this goes. And if you also leave, please feel free to save this replay, save this audio, make sure you save it, bookmark it, because when you save it, you can always come back. It's always hard to find information like this when there's a lot going on. So please make sure that you save this episode, save this room, and come back whenever you want to listen to it in full. That's what I always make sure of saying now, because it's just very important before we go into the discussion for the day. So thank you for being here today. And also click the link above. That's also going to give you access to more replays like this. I also have an audio and video replay section that you can actually connect with me. And it's a university where you can learn more about SEO and build your skills from beginner to pro. And there are very specific things that you can know and will know, should know, if you're able to plan these things accordingly to the way you build out your website and you build out your business as a business owner in 2026. So there's some things I'll be talking about today. So as I'm speaking, feel free to click the link above and sign up and click the first option that you see. That's going to give you access to the email inboxes that you'll be receiving based on marketing insights that you'll need for your business going forward. So let's get this going, and I would love to share some insights with you on these two platforms. So let's talk about Shopify first. Shopify is an e-commerce website platform, which is good. It's a CMS tool. It's a content management system tool. It's a great place for building products. Very great place for building products, especially if you have a product store, an e-commerce store online. Most times when you hear people say, I have a store online, 9 times out of 10, it's on Shopify. It could be on other platforms for sure. There are so many other CMS tools you can use, but Shopify stands out as one of the most favorable and the most convenient, the most price-friendly, and the most brand-aware platform that you can choose. And also, people just don't want to build anything. They want to build good-looking, aesthetically pleasing websites. And that's where you can see Shopify coming in to actually give you that. Why? Because with Shopify, you can also get themes. You can create a custom code, but most times people get themes. Now, the thing about themes is this. I want to just break this down for you with Shopify. When you have a website on Shopify, it's not like a website on WordPress. Because I mentioned before, this was yesterday, that WordPress, Webflow, these are open source tools. These are open source platforms. WordPress specifically is open source. And when you look at all the things you can add in there, it's very custom friendly. Now with Shopify, you can't do the same things that you can do with WordPress on Shopify. But with Shopify, you can get themes that will be helpful in the way it represents your brand on your website. Now, when you're getting a theme, you're buying a Shopify plan, which is X amount of dollars. You can put them out there. You can go to shopify.com and see it. And when you do that, the next thing you check is your theme. So you're going to purchase a plan with Shopify, and you're also going to purchase a theme. Welcome, Candy. Thanks for being here. Juliana Nero too, I see you too. Thanks for being here. When you have a Shopify theme, you're purchasing a theme that's going to be based on the aesthetics. Now, I always say this whenever we build websites for clients or manage them or audit them, I always ask this question. And this question is so valid that if you don't have a response that is recent, then it's going to be hard for you to scale, but it's also possible too if you take the right implementation strategies. And the question is this: when was the last time you updated your theme? Because you have a website, yes, it's loaded, yes, it's published, yes, it's live, yes, it's on Google, yes, it could be ranking, yes. But on the back end, on the dashboard, when was the last time you updated that theme? And it's going to tell you January, February, it's going to tell you. And if it's going to tell you a year prior, welcome Deolu, hey Candy. If it's a year prior, let's say we're in 2026, and now let's say your updated was August 2025, that just means that you haven't updated your website from the back end since August 2025. Now, that may not be a bad thing, which at all it's not, but this is what it could cost you. Visibility. Because when you have an updated theme, it also helps the algorithm also know that you have an updated setup. Because Shopify is not like WordPress. We talked about that yesterday. Shopify is not like WordPress. Shopify is open source. WordPress rather is open source. Shopify is closed source. So what does closed source mean? It means that you can't really do much outside the theme setup or the theme development structure that has been created. That's why there's something called Theme Liquid with Shopify. It's called Theme Liquid. So that's how you change the custom code. Let's say you want to put a pop-up on your website or on Shopify. You're like, where am I going to put it? Where you're going to put it is in the Theme Liquid. So that's what we do with clients, and we make sure that you have it access friendly and easy to use. And this is something that you should know. It's not something that you should pay for. It's something you should have an understanding of. What you're paying for is the strategy and the implementation, the research, the development, the structure, the value exchange. Those are things that are beyond just the know-how. So when you start looking at these platforms and you ask yourself, how much am I going to spend on the Shopify plan? How much am I going to spend on a Shopify theme? How much am I going to spend on a domain? And now when you have a Shopify plan, you technically have a hosting plan, because Shopify is your hosting platform. So Shopify is very specific in how they set it up in that way. And it's good because you can also install apps. Just like with WordPress, you can install plugins. On Shopify, you install apps. On Squarespace, it's different too, because Squarespace is more, so I'll call it, it's not so robust, but it's very user-friendly, for lack of a better word, because it's something that you can use and create connections with people on a consistent basis within a layer and a good feeling that suits your brand, unlike GoDaddy, which may not have the capability for you to build a website that has that kind of robust system, because that's even a tighter net compared to Squarespace or Shopify. Compare that entirely to WordPress. So we're talking about space. Think about it like you have 500 square feet, then you have 2,000 square foot, and then you have 5,000 square foot, then you have 10,000 square foot, then 20,000 square foot. So when you look at that number, because I always like to give you analogies of what I'm explaining, when you take that same type of analogy and look at the space you have and compare that with your website and see how much can I build within this. I have acres, yes, but how much of the acres can I display that I could create on my own, or have a development that will be outside the norm? So you have to think about those things too. But if you just want a site that is good, that is aesthetically pleasing, that makes sense, that is ranking on Google, that's showing up on ChatGPT and other platforms, yes, it's possible on a platform like Shopify. So it's really dependent on how you build it. Squarespace too. All these platforms, yes. The reason why all these platforms are ranking on websites like google.com, microsoft.com, bing.com, because they have something called a sitemap. A sitemap is, I always say a sitemap is the brain of a website. Welcome, Charles and Amanda and Deolu, Jamila and Chika. Good to be here. Thanks for being here too. A sitemap is the brain of a website. That's why I said this yesterday, and I want to just say some of the things I said yesterday again too, so you can see how they all string along together. Shopify, Squarespace, WordPress, Webflow, and the rest of them all need a sitemap. Even large sites like Magento, they need a sitemap. I've worked with clients, and we're still working with clients that have millions of pages. How do they show up on Google? How do they represent themselves on Google? How do they add value? And I'll put a LinkedIn, actually, I'll do this today so that you can see how this even plays into your structure when you think about your content. I'm going to put a LinkedIn post that I actually did a couple of days ago. And this is what I just talked about a few seconds too. All right, here we go. So I'm going to share, copy. I'm going to come to the chat. And then if you're in the chat, you can click the link in the chat. All right, there we go. So that link is going to take you to what I'm talking about right now, LinkedIn. And this is a client that they have their website on a specific platform. And this is, based on CMS value. And any of these platforms work: WordPress, Webflow, Shopify, Squarespace. I just want to give you an example of how this actually works. When you look at your website and your development, right? Because we're talking about website development comparisons, right? I want to give you the comparisons between these tools and make a decision. How much am I going to spend a year, a month, a quarter? It's up to you, but I also want to give you that information so you can have a better decision that you can take executively. Now, when you look at your content online, majorly, every time you show up on a social media platform, it's going to point back to your website. So if your website is not updated, but your Instagram is, your TikTok is, your Facebook is, your Threads is, your YouTube is, it's going to do more harm than good in the long run. Why? Because if you don't track your analytics and you tell everybody on your Instagram to go to your link in bio, but your link in bio is linking them to your website, but you can't track the website analytics from the social traffic that you're getting off your site, it's going to be hard for you to know which platforms are giving you more of a response as opposed to it just being a click or a view. So you get more into the details. So this LinkedIn that you're seeing here, it took us about 4 months, and we're still working with them and we're still building. Our goal is to make sure we can have that trajectory curve still going up. We met them when they were around less than 8,000 visits a month organically. And right now they're hitting about 20,000 monthly visits. Same domain. And this has millions of pages on them. So why am I giving you this as a case study, an audio case study, is just to show you that when you think about a website, whenever I talk about websites in the marketing club, every time I'm here, welcome, Joanna, I always make sure, and I have rooms here every day. I like to keep it around this time now because it's much better. What's up? Good to see you here. Thank you, Joanna. When you have a website, please always remember this, that your website is technically your digital blueprint online, because you can have all the social media traffic, but if you don't have any search traffic to back it up, it's going to be different, because there's a difference between social media traffic and search traffic. That's why people pay for Google ads. And that's why if you pay for Google ads and they're expensive, it's because there's something that's missing. It shouldn't be as expensive. You could be paying 80% less than that of what you're spending, especially if it's local, because there's some things you could put in place to address those things. When we work with clients that have more than 3 locations, 5 locations in different parts of the state, I'm in Houston, Texas, and you look at it from a long-term perspective and you're like, okay, if somebody's living in this place, okay, what are they experiencing? What's the weather like, right? Is it sunny? Is it snowy? Is it rainy? What's that feeling like? What does that give them? Because we're looking at psychographics, we're looking at all the different things. I was talking to a client that he's in New York, and I was talking to him earlier today, and I was like, hey, how's business going? It's like, because they do massage therapy, like lymphatic massage, and I know like Valentine's is coming up soon. So I'm like, hey, what are you working on? Just checking in. And he's telling me all the details, and I'm like, wow, yes, because things changed just a few weeks ago because of the weather, that has also affected his business. So I'm like, okay, now that we have a downtime, what can we do? And he's like, what can we do, Favor? And I'm like, I have an idea. So I already have it all planned out, because when it's downtime, whenever you don't get as much traffic, most times businesses they just sit back. They're like, okay, I guess that's all, folks. And that should be the time when you should be planting seeds, because in the next 2 to 3 months, you could be yielding more than you ever thought, because the lifespan of a blog is 24 months compared to an Instagram post or reel that could be at least 19 to 72 hours, give or take. It could be more than that, but that's where you're going to be reaching. And if you don't take that same Instagram post outside of Instagram.com to your website.com, then you're going to be losing more, because they're gaining analytics and you aren't. So they're using data and you aren't. So when you start thinking about data intelligence and start thinking about the whole platform in itself, how do you build capacity online? And we have to think about the websites that you're using, right? Fashion Nova, I talked about this before. They use Shopify, right? And that's an example of how it doesn't matter which website that you use, right? 43% of websites in the world are on WordPress, and there are 1.1 billion websites in the world, and it's still growing. So if you look at it, right, there are billions of blogs, yes, but how many of those blogs are being cited by AI, artificial intelligence systems, by LLMs, which is large language models? Is there LLM visibility? Do you have SEO visibility? If you don't have SEO visibility, there's no way you can have LLM visibility, because you can't skip that line. The reason why LLM is existing is because SEO exists. And I've always said it before. People say, is SEO dead? I had to do a whole topic on is SEO dead in 2026. And I said, no. It's more than alive than ever, because now if you're looking for something and you're creating content and your content is curated towards a topic of interest, then if your content is being spoken and the captions are auto-generated, is what you're saying connecting with what somebody's thinking? Because when someone's thinking, they're going to start typing. So you start looking at the psychology and not just the semantics, right? Because we're talking about content and context. I always say content is king and context is queen. So when you now build logic, emotion, when you build structure, you build communication, you build bridges, then you're able to build pathways for two-way communication to build over and over time. You're welcome, Jeff. And this is where you start looking and seeing beyond what you have, and not just looking at your website and saying, yeah, I have a website, I'm just paying for it every week or every year or every other year, and it's just there. No, think about your website as your contact card. I have a podcast. You can click the link above and you'll see the podcast there. I have a podcast, and this year I said, okay, you know what? We're already at 620 episodes, and I was like, we're going to get to 700 episodes by August. And I'm like, wait, we're already in February, and I have about 80 more episodes to go, and we have over 200 episodes that are not even published yet that we're going to schedule. So you're already ahead of schedule, because you know, God willing, that the things that you're planning for is also happening at the same time that you can create content for people and then link it back to your social media. So you don't have to post every day. What I'm just giving you an example of this with LinkedIn and podcast is you don't have to post every day on social media. I would rather send you an email every day, send you a podcast that I published every day, than send you an Instagram reel or a TikTok video that I posted every day. Why? Because if I send you an email, you're going to take me seriously. That's one. Two, you're going to pay attention to the details because it's a direct response, right? Three, you're going to now look at the context of why you're even receiving that information, because you need support or help or advice or intel about something that you want to take action on. And that's going to help you with the fourth thing, which is to take action on decisions that are either pre-purchase or post-purchase intent. Now, when you now look at Shopify, for example, Shopify is e-commerce based, right? So if you have a website and your website is on Shopify, please check your theme, Because if your theme is not updated and the developer of that theme updated that theme that you purchased but hasn't updated on your side, is going to be a defect on your end. So it's good to see what the updates look like and check to see whether they're updates, because you purchased for that license key, you purchased for that theme. So that theme is going to be specific to how your website's going to look. So that's a good thing about Shopify. Is like, hey, I want to change my website. I don't have to switch platforms. I just got to change the theme, move everything over, and we're good. And that's what we've done for clients. And it makes sense. And it's like, yeah, why? I mean, if it ain't broke, why fix it? So when you now look at the long-term effect of it, you're like, okay, this works. We've done that with the client as well that's on Squarespace. And we even went to her Wayback Machine. You know how you can go online and go to the web archives and go all the way back in time to see how websites look like back in the day. So I had a consultation call with her, and I was like, hey, let's look at your website back in the day. So we actually pulled back into time as far back as, I think it was 2002 or so. And we were just looking at how her website looked. And I was asking what happened at this time. We're getting so much detail that by the time we've now built the website on Squarespace, she was like, Favor, I have nothing else to say. It's good. So now we've had a renewal, and now we're building on the website we've built for her on Squarespace, so that she can now help other people who are looking for jobs, because she's been in the business for over 30 years in careers. So she can help people get jobs and set it up in a good way. And she's in New York and she's doing so well. So I'm like, hey, how can we help more people do things like this? Because it's your website. That's why some people say, oh, is it SEO for this, for that? No, SEO is how you structure it, the signals. There are things that you have to put in place. If they're not there, it's going to be hard for you to replace those things. For example, I'll give you another thing with GoDaddy. I've seen them all over, everywhere. With GoDaddy, we were trying to put up a pop-up on GoDaddy, and we couldn't do it because there's something called a lightbox. A lightbox is technically when you sign up or you go to a website and then you have a pop-up. That pop-up is also known as a lightbox internally when you look at the setup of a website when on the developer side. So I was like, okay, y'all got a lightbox for GoDaddy, which is great, but we can't add a custom lightbox, quote unquote, for a third-party application that we can install, which we can receive emails or get opt-ins. So we had that with a client, and I was telling her, there's no way we can do this because the website is restricting that. And she had to now move to a third-party platform to now receive emails entirely, but not get it directly from the website, which is an alternative, yes, but the best way is to gather everything in one house. So think about it like a bucket, right? Would you rather have a big bucket, a jumbo bucket, and it fills up so much, or would you rather have like little buckets, maybe let's say 8 or 12 of them, just in between? You'd rather have a large one because now you can use that large one and fill up 20 buckets, smaller buckets, 30 smaller buckets. You can balance it out. You can create equilibriums with them. So what I'm trying to say here is when you choose the platforms that you're creating your websites on, be very specific with how you want this thing to go long term. Because if it's an e-commerce platform, please, Shopify is amazing. You can use it because you want to build e-commerce branding. You can see live activities, live visitors. There's a lot you can do with Shopify. You can also connect it to Pinterest. I usually connect with Pinterest every 2 weeks. And we have clients that we also connecting on Pinterest, and we see how your catalogs can connect into Pinterest. So if you have a Shopify account, you can connect your catalog. So if you sell books, if you sell templates, if you sell shirts, t-shirts, whatever it is that you sell, cups, some people sell desk plans and they're making a good buck, so you have to look at it at how you're going to create it for yourself and see where you're going to use your creativity essentially to build. Some people use Wix too. So I'm going to bring Wix up very soon. I think that's going to be the next one I'll talk about, and I'll see what I can mix that with. But if you're looking at all these platforms to build out your website, whether you have a Wix website, a Shopify website, a Squarespace website, when you look at the comparisons, think about the scalability. There's something that Wix does that I saw again, and I was like, okay, maybe it's just me. But I was like, nah, this can't be me. It's happening every time I show up on a different account. Sometimes we're building on Wix website, sometimes we're building on WordPress, sometimes we're building on Squarespace, sometimes it's Shopify. This morning I was on a Shopify site with a client. They sell, natural, eco-friendly, amazing tools that you can actually use in replacement of the chemicals if you love, cleaning your home and having natural feels, especially like if you have pets or babies, just sensitive skin. It's very important to know how you clean your house, because your house is your home. It's a place of peace. So she does that, and she has a Shopify website. We moved her from WordPress because WordPress was just doing too much. And we're like, yeah, let's just move over to Shopify. And it's happening for her. And now her neighbors are having a great time. She was telling me about that earlier today. So now they're getting free shipping, and, Valentine's is coming and people want to stay at home and have a good time and just feel good. So it's like when people are happy, you're happy. It's a win-win-win. The consumer is happy, the client's happy, you are happy. So when you think about all these things, it's something that actually starts to make more sense when you start thinking about your website. Now, why am I giving you all these different examples and bringing them all together? This is the cake I'm trying to make you see. And please let me know if you don't. I'd love to expand on this or give you more clarity on this. Is this: when you have a Shopify website, a Squarespace website, the meat and potatoes of this room is this. For you to have web development on your website, welcome, Ryan. For you to have web development on your website done, it means that you need to have pages on your website more than your core pages, right? Now, let me explain this and go a little deeper. When you have a website, most websites, right, there are 1.1 billion websites, so not every website is going to have the same amount of pages. And I talked about a sitemap, which is the brain of a website, which you submit to Google. And I think the limit is about 50,000 sitemaps you can send, but you can also compress it and you can do more with it if you have millions of pages. Like the more you get, the more you have to secure because you have more capacity. So I've looked at it from someone that has one website to people who have 20 million plus web pages. So I've seen the whole scale and I'm like, okay, what is the common denominator between all these different websites? It's simple. It's very simple. It's the number of pages you have on your site. So if you have a Shopify site and you have core pages, and what are core pages? Your homepage, your about page, your contact page, your maybe let's say services page. If you have products, let's say you have locations, FAQs. Some people don't have FAQs. It's good to have FAQs on your website. That's a big one for you, especially for AI listicles and technology and scraping data. It's good to have FAQs as a dedicated page. I'll just say that we've done that for clients and it does wonders. So just look at it as a way of seeing it that will help you. But when you do it, you can get it done because it's your website. But there are billions of other websites doing the same thing too. So now it's like, okay, so where do we fall in line and who are we to these people? So that's where the strategy comes in. So when you have a website, think about the number of pages you have. Like on WordPress, when you install a plugin, you can't have 2 sitemaps. That's why Shopify does not even allow you to create a sitemap because they have everything installed or pre-installed for you. So you don't have to worry about all the kinks and nitty-gritty stuff that you have to do. Technically, you don't have to worry about that. As soon as you hit publish live, you hit save, your website is loaded, you have a sitemap because you have all your pages, you have your products, you have your collections, you have your pages, you have your posts, you have your site pages, everything is there. So it makes sense for you to have that on Shopify. Now on WordPress, it's different. So when you have a WordPress site has plugins, right? And these plugins, you can have 2 sitemaps. If you have 2 sitemaps, it's going to give you a red or it's going to give you a warning. It's going to say, hey, you can't have 2 sitemaps working together. It's like saying you have 2 brains, you have one. So that's why I always say a sitemap is a brain of a website. So the more you're able to feed the brain with links, with pages, with content, with links externally and internally, and the more pages you build, so technically for every 1 page you publish, let's say you published 1 blog today, and you've had 50 blogs in your page, welcome Shari, and you've had 50 blogs in your catalog, let's say your post catalog. If you've done that, that means, let's say in January of last year, 2025, you had, let's say, 3 articles you published. So if you had 3 articles you published, then you can go to those articles back in January 2025 and update those 3. So now you have 4. So you have 1 new one and you have 3 old ones. That's the power of compounding. That's why I'm saying that the difference is the pages. This is literally it. If you can do it on your own, great. And then you also have to think about scaling the same pages too. It's not just creating pages, because anyone can create a page. So it's how you structure the page all the way down to the URL, all the way down to the structure in itself. How do you schedule it? How do you plan it? How do you make it indexable, right? And even with a platform like Wix, I noticed something like what I mentioned earlier, that with Wix, there's something called a robots TXT. And I noticed, and it happened again recently, and I was like, wow, so this is actually happening on Wix websites, and people don't know this, where if you have a Wix website and you go to the settings section of your site, this is going to be a very deep place you may never have ever visited on your Wix, but I've known Wix since I've been using 6.20. Yeah, it's going to be 10 years on Wix, just understanding the whole Wix. It's very interesting. They've really improved. So there's a section on Wix on your website in the dashboard on the bottom left-hand corner, and you click on settings. When you click settings, you will see a section that talks about SEO settings, and then you'll see like blog tags and blog categories. Now, when you go to the section that has the blog tags, there's a robots TXT that has been by default. I don't even know why it's a default option, but it says no index, which means that even if you create a tag on Wix, none of those tags are going to be indexed, because you've manually created an action. It's called a manual action. And you've created a manual action to say technically to the algorithms that when you're coming to this website to look for information or source data, don't source from these tags. And that is not a good thing, because tags is really what keeps you. Think about it. We say, does hashtags work? Yes. Before there were hashtags, there were tags. Or there were hashtags, but hashtags were used for something else on a phone, on a cellular device. So it's different. Now hashtags we don't think about hashtags the way we used to 20 years ago. But when you look at tags are technically hashtags. And hashtags are technically URLs. They're either meshed up or they're hyphenated. So when I look at all these tags and categories and words, when Wix has that turned off, then that means your tags cannot be received. So turn that off so that you can now have access to that. So you're welcome. And I hope this helps you, gain more visibility as well, because this is a very important thing to look at when you have blogs. Because when you have a website that have all these core pages, that's all you have. That's all you have. When you have all these core pages are going to be there. You're always going to change your homepage. You're always going to update your about page. You're always going to update your contact page. These are things you're going to always update. And for those who haven't updated their footer, please check your footer. If there's anything you do as you're listening to this and you haven't done this, please pause and then rewind. Please do this. Go to your website, scroll all the way down, and check the current year on your website. If that does not say 2026, either do it on your own or have your team do it or hire someone to do it, but please get it done. Because when you do it, that's going to be a good signal, because by that being there, you may have updated for 2026, yes, but the actual text itself has not changed. It's like saying, yeah, I took a shower, but you just splashed water on yourself. Yeah, you felt like water touched you, but you didn't have a deep scrub. So when you go into the details, it starts to change the whole thought of everything. Yeah, you have water, you have soap, you have all these things, great, but When you now think about the long term, you're asking yourself, do I feel clean? Do I feel ready? Do I feel, that's how you're supposed to respond, which is logical. So it's the same thing I'm giving you as an analogy for your website, right? When you look at your website, ask yourself, okay, I've updated these pages, but the actual text itself does not say 2026. So it still says 2025. It still says 2024, 2023, copyright 2022. So when those things are there, it may not be a harmful thing, quote unquote, but when your website is being scanned by AI, by all these search engines, that is text on page. That's on page SEO right there. That's the detail that someone can read in HTML code. So if that is not updated, then that's going to be a hard way for you to keep that going. Welcome, Nubian. So you think about it, right, long term, and you say, hey, how am I going to create a long-term comparison between these platforms? So if you use Shopify and you have a website that is focused on products and selling e-commerce, Shopify is great. It's amazing. You can sell in different languages and different currencies. You can do a lot with it there. You can add apps. You can create automated tools in there that you can actually create for your business. And Shopify is amazing for that too. So you don't have to worry about the sitemaps that I mentioned, like with WordPress. You wouldn't have to worry about that, because with WordPress, you'd have to install a plugin and then activate and configure the sitemap and configure the tool into your website. So, and then you have to submit those tools as well. So it's a whole process. And these are things that we might skip, miss, or not know. And also one thing I also hear too is when I say, hey, have you connected your website to Google Search Console? Some people will say yes. And I'll be like, okay. Have you submitted your sitemap? And then they'll say no. And then from that point, I'm like, okay, so did you connect your Google Search Console or did you connect your Google Analytics? That's where I have like reverse gear. Because there's no way you can go forward if you don't like launch from back, like an arrow. If you think about all the things, when you have to make moves, you have to move, you have to set your pace, you have to make sure everything is right, you have to stand in formation, right? You have to be in a position of movement. So if you're creating content, your content has to move in a way that someone can see it and they're like, okay, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Because your website has content, your website has information, your website has value, and your website has buttons, it has social links. You may have a whole website, and I've seen that with clients and prospects and people and consumers and audits and just people I'm connected with and just in the community in general. And I see these things, and when they are changed, it gets better. And I'm like, oh, this is good, because some days someone will tell me an email and say, hey, I tried this out. I heard you talk about this and I tried this out, and I'll be so happy, because I'm like, I'm glad you did, because that's why I want you to know about this, because I want you to do it. These are things that we can do for you, but you'd rather do it, learn it, understand it. So when we do it together, we're doing something at a higher level than doing the things that we could have tasked ourselves to do or tasked somebody else to do at an earlier time, because you've been able to do it well. Or we can do that for you on the go, and you can see how it works and you can learn on the go. Either way it goes, at some point you're going to have to see that, hey, your website is something that you have to build on, because you have all these core pages, which is great, but you want to build on these core pages. So when you have websites, create tags, create categories, create posts. These are amazing tools you can use. Categories, tags, and posts. Categories, tags, and posts. When you use these three, that is a great way for you to show up online, especially when you now create content, and these tags, these categories, and these posts have URLs that are tagged to the same context. That's when you're really winning, because now you actually have information that people can actually read through, and there are tags that can scan through. If you have locations, put them in your tags. These are things that you should be doing. So when people say, okay, I got to do these things, yes, they have to be done. Think about it this way, right? If you have a car and you're driving and this car is driving well, it's driving well. But if I show you how to drive your car better, it's not because you're driving any way worse. It's just that there are some techniques that you could know that will help you drive better than how you're actually driving. So it's the same thing with your website. You could be driving traffic to your website in a fantastic way. It's working well, but imagine if you tweak this and that, before you know it, you'll be moving twice the speed or even at a higher capacity. If you click the link I put in the chat, that shows you a case study I talked about on LinkedIn that I put up, and we moved the website in the last 4 months from, if you see it right now, you should be able to see it. We moved the clients from less than 8,000 visits in September, and right now we're in February, and right now they're less than 20,000 organically. We've not spent a single dollar on ads, and they've incrementally increased because of technical setups, because of building on websites, on developing, on understanding the SEO framework. So these are things that are very specific to do. And if you can do them on Shopify, on Squarespace, great. If you can do them on WordPress, on Webflow, great. That's a one up. That's a great thing. Now, to now make it more specific, we have to now go deeper and understand why are we even doing this? What is the cause and effect? What are we trying to get out of this data? If we put this way, how is it supposed to move? Because this is supposed to tell some type of way. If you have a typo in your name and then ChatGPT puts a typo as a result, that's because it's coming from a source. So it's very important to look at these things. That's what I'm saying. It's not just by happenstance. We have to look at them in a very specific way. So Shopify SEO is great. You can use Shopify and use it alternatively for all the things that you want to create it for. Based on your content, it's great for SEO. You're able to use it and focus on just having advanced loading speeds. That's a good thing about Shopify because you have loading speeds. And I haven't talked about this much, but I probably will talk about this one day. Your website loading speed is so important. It's so important because if your website is loading slow and you have a Shopify website, and SEO is great, but you have images that are 5 megabytes each and you have 50 products, that's going to be a lot of data to chew, and that's going to chew you down. It's going to pipe you down. It's not going to be good all around. It's not going to be funny at all because it's going to be something that you would have to go on the backlog and replace, which is going to take a lot of time. And if you don't know the right tools and the right techniques to build that, it's going to take your time too, and it's going to be energy draining. So the last thing you want to do is build a problem or create a problem that you could have avoided, right? So why I give you these things is so you can also see the long-term effects of how you can compare these two. Squarespace is also a great place to do SEO. It's a great place to actually have content. We have a client who actually even has over 30 to 50 plus thousand in range going upwards. It's probably higher now as an email list. And they have that through Squarespace. So they're getting over 50,000 plus email subscribers on Squarespace. Shopify also having amazing information with page load speed, whether for mobile or for desktop. So it's not about the platform that you use. It's about how you use the platform. It's not about how the platform works or what happens, what plugins go here, what does this button do. The goal is to make sure that what you have is enough to take you to the next level. You just need to structure it in a way that's going to add value to the people and the search engines that you're going to receive signals from. And once you're able to blend that and it becomes a yin yang, you're good. So these are some things I would love to, talk to you about so you can also see it for yourself and also see how it can also value and give you more, I'll call it more responsibilities in the future to build more capacity. So this is something important that I wanted to make mention of. So I'm about to share something with you guys. Here we go. I'm about to put something and here we go. So today I am going to talk about something that I believe will be very exciting for you to check out, and it's called SEO University. And as you're looking at these rooms, I'm saying this now because I know people listen to replays and I love that you're listening. So please feel free to connect to me if you have any questions about this, or hit my profile, connect to me on LinkedIn. Let's talk, email me. Let's have a conversation. Let's have some virtual coffee and talk. So what's happening this year is going to be a little different. I know we've been on Clubhouse and having amazing rooms. It's going to be exciting because we're going to have more rooms like this. But what's going to also start happening from now is we're going to have rooms that I'll be doing and that you can come from here. We're still going to have it on Clubhouse, 100%. But what's going to happen is the replays will not be on after the room is over. And on top of that, welcome Soma and Justice, welcome Mo. And what's going to happen too is sometimes what will be happening as well is I'm going to be having audio replays. Thank you, Soma. And I'll be having video replays. So the video replays, I'm going to be coming to Clubhouse, and that's when the replays will be off for sure, because I'll be on video and I'll be showing you how to do the things I'm talking about here. But if you want to get the access to the replays will be accessible through this link above. So if you go to seouniversity.supercast.com, you can see it there, and you can sign up for the audio replay or for the video replay and check it out and just save this, bookmark this. That's why I started this room and I said, please bookmark this room, because this room is loaded with a lot of information, because a lot of things will be changing and I'm excited to share more with you, but I want to go deeper. I just want to talk about these things because talking about them is fun. It's all kumbaya, but I want you guys to take action. I want you guys to see results, and you're seeing results already, but I want you to take results on a faster scale so that when you come here and we're here for an hour, you've probably gotten something in 10 minutes that you've been spending 10 days to figure out. So I just want to make your life easier. And we have 30 days in a month. So if you're able to split that into 10 days each, and see how best you can maximize your 24 hours into 4 cycles, of 6 hours each, then you can really break it down even deeper. Welcome, James, to have a much deeper result on this. So if you have any questions, now is the time. Click the link above. And I'm going to be quiet for a minute. If you have any questions, I'm going to be checking the chat. If you want to raise your hand, please feel free to ask me any questions about today's conversation. Are we all good? No questions? Okay. I don't think we have any questions. That means we're clear. And if we're not, please reach out. But this is going to be something for you to check out. So it's getting to a point where I want to share with you more details on how you can maximize, even use AI, SEO, Pinterest, podcast, your website, development-wise, branding-wise, color-wise, email-wise, marketing-wise. How can you use this for social business purposes? And how can you build this as a business long-term? You're welcome, Deolu, because I've thought about it and I said, hey, I want to make sure you guys have the best access. So right now for this, you can get the audio replays for $19.99. That's about $20 a month. Or you can save for the year and you can do that $11.66 and be billed annually. Or you can do the video replays at $99.99, which is $100. Or you can save 37% at $63.33 billed annually. So you can choose either option, but either of those two is going to bring you into a very exclusive space. Welcome, Bo. It's going to be a very exclusive space because you're going to see a lot of different things, because I have a lot of, discovery calls with people. I get to hear their questions. I learn from them more than they learn from me. That's why I love connecting with people, because you just don't know. I just love to learn. That's just me. So I'm able to teach and help and share, but also do it in a way that you feel connected, because in this place here, there's something called an Ask Me Anything. So just like here, hey, Bo, I see you in the chat. Thanks for being here. When you are here, we can talk in the chat, we can connect, we can build, and then the room is over. But let's say you had a question an hour after this room is over and you're like, wait a minute, I have a question. How can I ask this question? That's what I'm thinking now. I'm like thinking about after the room closes. And I'm like, how best can we connect after the conversation is over? So that if you have a question to start another conversation, we have a way to continue the conversation from where we left off. And this is a link at the top where you can connect with me, and you can start there and subscribe today or save this so that you can look at it later. But you're going to have a lot of access to replays that are going to be here, and I'll do them very exclusively. So I'm excited that I'll be doing this more intentionally, because this way I'm able to have more rooms, answer more questions. And these rooms came out of responses. And I remember, Ryan, we talked about WordPress and Webflow. You missed it yesterday. I was like, man, I wish Ryan was here. Ryan, if you're available, we'd love to hear from you. But I know these tools are huge, and we went through them yesterday, and I would love to, just hear feedback on that. So yeah, Ryan, how you doing, man? And we'd love to hear feedback.
Favor. Sorry, I missed you yesterday. I can't remember what I was doing, but no, obviously I've come in a bit late today, so I'm just trying to catch up. I can see obviously the title of the room: Shopify SEO versus Squarespace. I'm always trying to soak up the SEO game. I haven't even had time to even work on my own SEO stuff, but I'm listening diligently.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for being here. Yeah, the replay is available, and I covered it yesterday. So if you listen to it and, in your downtime, just feel free to let me know. I'll actually put the link in the chat so that you guys can have access to it really quickly, because yesterday we covered this thing in depth, and then it was deep. I was like, yeah, y'all just got to listen to it. There's some things that were said, and I was like, yeah, I think it's good to cover these things and connect. All right, boom, there we go. The link is in the chat. So yeah, feel free to connect.
Thank you for that. I definitely will.
Video replays. I'm going to do an FAQ on this alone. There's going to be a room about it very soon, where I'm just going to cover frequently asked questions about this, because I've come to see a thing when clarity is not clear, no one's going anywhere. When clarity is not clear, no one's going anywhere, because this is something that would require a two-way street and a communication level of understanding that will help the person know, okay, is this a problem I have? It's like saying I have let me say it this way, just to give you like a very literal meaning or analogy on this. If you had a stone under your shoe or in your sock, right? Let's say you have your socks on, or let's say under your sock, right under your sock in your shoe, you have a stone, and that stone is bugging you. You're not going to walk like you don't have a stone under your foot. You're going to take care of that because you want to walk freely. You want to feel better. Why is this stone here in the first place? So when I'm giving that analogy, it's the same thing as knowing, okay, if you know that I have to solve my website, I have a website and I need to fix my website or maybe do something to connect it, and I know there's a specific question that I need to ask, why not ask that question and get it solved than walk around with the question unanswered? So that's why I built something in here that is Ask Me Anything. And you can ask me any question in here and I'll turn that into an episode, and that episode will be private. So you'll have access to it in private, and I'll be able to give you more details into it. And if it's more specific into like a technical thing, I can turn it into video if you're in the video section too. So I'm going to make this very open. And this is something I'm starting off early this year, because people say, hey, I want to listen to your content. And yeah, they listen to podcasts. Thank you for listening to We Don't Play Podcasts. I just feel like there are more ways and there are deeper ways I can show more with less time that you can spend, so that you can spend more time on things that you have to take care of, and not just flood you with videos everywhere, because people got bigger fish to fry. People are busy. So people are coming in and out of the room. So I know eventually at some point you're going to have to sit down at the time you're free. Some people are night owls, some people are early birds. It depends on how you do it, but I just want to make sure that you are aware, so that when it's time for you to take action, you know exactly where to go. And that's why I do these things consistently, like today. So Shopify is a great platform for your website. If you want to do anything that is product related, SEO wise is great, because Shopify SEO is really, really great when you think about the products. Now, I'm going to say something about the products, both for Squarespace and for Shopify, because they're the same thing. Please don't think that one is over the other. They're just different in their unique ways, but they both do well. Just like WordPress and Webflow we talked about yesterday. It's just based on preference. So there's something I want to make sure I can make clear today, because if I don't say this will be one thing that you would miss and it will be a disservice, and I don't want that to be on me. So I want to put the ball in your court. So here we go. On Shopify and on Squarespace, even other platforms, other CMS platforms, WordPress, Webflow, all of them, This is something that happens everywhere. So it's not like it's one and to none. All of them have it. So you have to check this out, especially if you have products or blogs. When you have a product, let's say you have a product and you're selling a product, and let's say you're selling, it's Valentine's season, right? So let's say you're selling flowers. Now, if you're selling flowers on a website and people are seeing the flowers, they're choosing the types of flowers that they want to get. When someone is looking for flowers, that's the first thing they're typing. But now if they're looking for roses, if that's more specific, then the search is going to change. I'm going somewhere with this, right? So if I now write at the top of my product, and let's say this product is, let's say 6-piece or let's say 12-piece rose bouquet. Now, somebody is looking at the numbers before they look at the words, and it just makes sense alphanumerical wise. So someone's going to read the number before they read the text. So if someone's processing the number, they're like, okay, 6, there's 12, there's 36. Okay, do I want the small? Do I want the medium? Do I want the large? That's what they're thinking first before they click. So they're already in thinking mode, right? This is us talking about this right now. They're in thinking mode. So as they're in thinking mode, they're thinking, what do I actually need? Yes, I see I got 3 options of the same roses I could get, but what size do I need? If I'm looking for chocolate, am I going to get a large chocolate? Am I going to get a mini chocolate bar? Or am I going to get a bucket of chocolate? So that's going to be dependent on those things as well. Welcome, K. Patrice and Sackback and Romello. When you now have those things, right? Welcome, John. You start to create more and more and more and more and more and more and more intentions over time, because now what you're doing is you're allowing those numbers to now take predominance and preeminence too, in allowing somebody to make a decision on what to click on, because people are reading from left to right. So most times you're going to have the smallest option on the left and the largest option on the right, most times when you're buying products online. So when you're buying these products, right, and you're looking at it online as a product, that's what it says. And I'm giving these numbers for a very specific reason, and you'll get to see why I'm even giving you numbers to begin with. So when you now see 6-piece, 12-piece, and all these stuff, now when we go at the very bottom, let's say we scroll all the way down to the end of Shopify or the end of Squarespace. When you get to the end of that platform, right? Let's say it's a blog or product, and you say, okay, these are the flowers, this is the roses, this is the name, this is what's going on. When you do that, this is the next thing that happens. When you scroll down, whatever you wrote at the top is what's going to reflect at the bottom. So at the bottom is going to say, like with Shopify, to say edit SEO metadata. I'm not even looking at a screen, and I can see it because I've always seen it. So it will say it will say edit SEO metadata. And when it says that, right below, there's on the right side, there's an edit button. There's a blue little button that says edit. So when you click that edit, whatever you wrote at the top is what's going to reflect as a URL, because there's no way your blog is going to be published without a URL pathway. So that URL pathway is either going to be auto-generated by default from your title, or it's going to be customized based on how you manually reprint the URL, the Uniform Resource Locator. So that's very important to consider and to look at when you're thinking about this long term. So when you change it now at the top, right, it would say 6-piece, red rose bouquet. And now the bottom is going to say your website.com/6-PC-red-rose-bouquet. It's going to say exactly what it says at the top. Now, most times you can leave it that way and you're like, okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but it just makes it better for you to have a more concentrated effect on this. And this is where I'm going to go to. And Bettina says, gotta go, but thanks. You inspired me, even though I have nothing to do with the field. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. It's really lovely to hear feedback. And I'm really happy that, you got to be here with us today. So thank you for being here all the way. And I hope you able to have a wonderful day. And definitely feel free to save this replay to catch up on what we talked about before the room ends. So I appreciate you, Bettina. So when you look at these three things that I've mentioned, right, you have the title, you have the SEO metadata, right, and you have the URL. There's still the description there, which is also blank. Most times it's blank. And if it's not blank, it's probably the first 50 to 60 characters in your text. Now, there was some study that was done, and I got to see it, where when you now look at the context of the number of URLs, or not even URLs, rather, I'll say it this way, the number of characters with spaces that you can have are getting smaller and smaller. Not that the longer ones don't count, but you'd rather have it in a better way. And it actually looks better as a library. Think about it this way. Imagine if you had 6 piece, 12 piece, 36 piece, and that's all you have in your URL, instead of just having red roses, red roses, red roses. And at the end, you have the 12 piece, you have the 6 piece. So you've now interchanged the URL as opposed to starting with a number and mashing the number in between the URL. Of course, you can use it any way you like. There's no standard way of doing it, but I'm giving you a creative way you can make it, that if you do it that way, it will have a much layer and a much better look and feel on the eye. Because when you're reading through those texts, somebody's reading from left to right. They're not even reading, they're skimming. So when people are skimming through text, they're skimming through the information. And if they see something that is going to pattern disrupt their motion, then they're going to stop and look. So if they're reading red roses and they see 12 in the middle, and they see another one that says 6 in the middle, another one that says 36 in the middle, then that way they can say, okay, I'm going to click on the one that says 36 or 12 or 6 because I've chosen based on my need at the time. That's a pre-purchase click. So when you now look at that online, and it doesn't change the title of your Shopify product, it doesn't change the title of your Squarespace product, it doesn't change the title of your Wix products, your WordPress or WooCommerce products, or your BigCommerce products, or if you use Magento, that too. All of them are all in place because they all play a big role into how it shows up online. So I just wanted to make sure that you could, get that insight so that you're able to know as well what it means for you. If you're using Squarespace, then it's just content based and it's content driven, which is good. But Shopify is more so on the extensive side for products and for using it as a product tool and a product guide, because you can use it for products, get amazing things done with your Shopify compared to Squarespace. But if you want something that is quick, you can be on the go, you can use Squarespace. But either of them work technically well, but it also has a better integration depending on how you're able to look at the two. For example, because Shopify handles, even Squarespace does this, but Shopify is better at this, is when you look at the integration, when you look at schema.org is technically the standardization or the golden standard for how documentation is now printed on web pages. Because yes, you have a website, but it's technically a documentation, right? That's why you have to have policy pages, contact pages, home pages. It's just structure. It just makes sense. You need a door, you need a window, you need a handle. It's the same difference. So when you now look at it from a technical, digital, fundamental standpoint, those things have to make sense because there's something called NAP, NAP, name, address, phone number. And it's not your address. It could be if you have a brick and mortar, but it's also your World Wide Web address. What's your www address? What's your domain address? So that's how people address you. Dress how you want to be addressed. So when you now have that consistently and you now have that on your Shopify, on your Squarespace, you have that connected, this thing that I've just talked about right now with the way you structure your site, it wouldn't be long that people will start finding your content more and more resourceful because you're actually getting more and more people connecting back to you, because you're even putting it in a position that they can actually receive information at a higher level and a deeper level just based on how they connect with you. So it's something that I want you to just think about and look at and ask yourself, how are we going to do this in 2026? If you have a Squarespace site or a Shopify site, the web development is based on your URLs, how you structure them, how do you put them into the OG, right? OG stands for Open Graph, right? Open Graph is technically social media. I'll give you an example. If somebody sends you a message on your phone, right? If somebody sends you a text message, a WhatsApp message, just an iMessage, and you get to say, okay, check this video, or check this blog. And then you see the text. Even on YouTube, you see it a lot when you send YouTube videos, and you see the title of the video, and then you see the thumbnail of the video. Now, the text that you see there is the title, is an open graph. Now, that open graph, if it's not inputted as well, that's also could be defaulted, because the open graph is not going to be duplicated from the SEO meta title, because the SEO title was a manual action. So it's not going to have an automatic process. So these are some little things I like to highlight, which could be confused, or I can even say construed, but they actually matter, because that way, if you have a phone and people are checking out your phone with different resolutions, people have different screen resolutions. I may have the iPhone 11, you may have the iPhone 17, right? We don't know what's happening. You might be on Safari, I might be on Chrome. So it's very different. So, and you don't know those things, because those are very personalized experiences that you're creating for people. So you're creating content for people, how fast your page loads. If it loads more than 3 seconds, you're already losing close to 10% of your conversion rate at the gate, from the jump. So these are things that you want to look at and ask yourself, how do we fix these things early? Because we don't want to have any problems at all. So I've covered this today. I asked if anyone has any question. Nobody said they have a question. So I guess I've covered everything that you need to hear, but I definitely have covered what I brought today to make sure that you have full intel on this. So I won't have to bring this up again. And if I do, then it will be at a deeper level, because we've had a full understanding of the know-how. There's a proof of concept here. So definitely, for sure, I'll look at that. Ryan, before we go, is there anything you'd like to say? What would you say is your biggest takeaway? And when you think about websites, especially because this questions came up from our room, I think earlier this week or last week, when you look at the things that are happening now, where do you see it going, and what would you say is a big takeaway for you?
Do you know, the funny thing is, the big takeaway is one of the most obvious things, is which you said. It was in relation to the words that you use. So you said you could be describing something and you could call it a flower versus calling it a rose. And at that moment, I just said to myself, wow, it's so simple and it's so obvious. But unless someone actually points it out to you, it will go over your head. You won't realize that it needs that level of detail. So I'm really thankful that you have mentioned that again, because it's just good to bring it to the front of mind, so that we are more conscious when we are making our pages and writing content. So that's my main takeaway for today. So I really appreciate the topic, and I'll be listening to the replay, because I know I missed a bit in the beginning.
Thank you, Ryan. That's beautiful. I appreciate that feedback. It helps me a lot to know what's making sense and what I need to say more of, so that more people can understand it. And it just makes sense, because when we're able to do it, everyone can win. Whether you have an event, whether you have a business, whether you have a website, whether you have a page, whether you have a portfolio, these are things that will help you. Even with your resume, when you're getting a job, you need to put your keywords in place. You need to have the right things in place. So everything requires SEO, search engines. You're working with engines, you're working with APIs, you're working with algorithms. So these are very important things to look out for. And I hope if we can semantically write content that will positively impact our business output and our business connections without us having to lift a finger all the time, then you'd spend more time doing things you love, because you've put things in place and you've created a system, and it's an operating system at that. So thank you so much for that feedback, Ryan. Thank you, Deoli, Amanda, Johanna, Mo, Justice, Sack Black. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you as well. And thank you all. I hope you all had an amazing session that we talked about today, and I hope you're able to learn more about this as we cover this, in different capacities. Welcome, TJ. So think about this long term and ask yourself, where are we going as a business, as a people? Where are we going and how are we moving? If we can move further, we can do these things at a high capacity. So we'll talk about this more. And tomorrow, I've been thinking about this, and let me ask you guys, because I think this will also help me. Yeah, this will be perfect. This will help me know what to do first between these two. Put a 1 in the chat if you, and this is a live poll, guys. So let's participate. This is for the next 1 minute. Put a 1 in the chat if you want me to talk about social media marketing, which is like Instagram and TikTok algorithm hacks. We're using a tool that you can definitely use for sure. Or Put a 2 in the chat, which is a little bit more extensive because there are going to be 3 options. Have website versus social media marketing, or put a 3 in the chat if you want us to talk about how to monetize your email list. Those are my 3 options. So put a 1 or 2 or 3 and let me know. Number 1, social media marketing, Instagram and TikTok algorithm hacks. Put a 2 in the chat for website marketing versus social media marketing, or put a 3 in the chat for email, or I can say monetization with email. How to monetize your email list. Okay, so we got a 1 and a 2. This is a tough one. So 1 and 2 in the building. We got to break the tie. So 1 or 2. 1 would, okay. Okay, so thank you, Joanna. So Amanda says 1. So 1 wins. So I'll bring the others 2. Oh, wow. Dolu came in with the 2. Okay, all right. So because 1 came in first, I got to respect that. And we'll do, you see how you guys making my life so hard. I'm going to make sure, and I was like, let's see what's going to happen. So 1 is going to be kicked off. We'll do 1 first, and then we'll do 2 after. So we'll do 1, the Instagram, and that one, this is exactly why I said I was going to do like a video replay, because this will require video. I can't talk about this. This is requiring a video. Like, I want you to see it. So I'm going to do a room intentionally this week. It should be tomorrow. Let me see. Let me look at my calendar and see, because I always want to make sure I can schedule rooms. So tomorrow, perfect. So tomorrow I'm going to do a room because I'll make it nice and early, because it's Thursday is technically Friday Eve. So I will make it in the morning. So let's say about like 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be here. Yes, and I'll do a room on the Instagram and TikTok algorithm hack for social media marketing, and what you can do. And I'm going to share my screen. We're going to be on Zoom. So I'll put the link here on Zoom, and whoever comes into the room, just know, if you're listening to this now, that just click on the link in the chat. It's going to have the link to the Zoom room, and you'll have access to the room, and we'll be on Zoom. And then when you come into the room on Zoom, just come in. If you're going to be on Clubhouse, that's fine too. But if you're going to be maybe using another device and you're jumping on there, just please make sure that your microphone is off, so you don't, get into the microphone and it comes on Clubhouse, just for your safety and also for your best experience as well. So when you come in, just keep in mind that keep it muted. Even you can keep the video off. I'm going to be sharing my screen, and I want you to focus on what I'm showing you and not what's around you. So I want to make sure I can respect your time, value your time, and give you what you need at that appropriate time. So we'll talk about it and we'll be more intentional through it. So I wanted to give you that feedback on that. Thank you, Joanna, and you're welcome, Amanda. So I'll talk about that first. And then number 2 will be the website marketing versus social media marketing, which I'll cover. Today is Wednesday. So Friday, which will be after tomorrow. So we got it. We got a deal. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please feel free to connect with me. The link is above. If you need a website audit and you need your business to be looked into, the link is available at the top. And once you click that link above, you'll be able to schedule a call with me, and we'll have a conversation. I'll talk about it for 30 to 45 minutes. You'll get a 5-minute video from me, because I want to give you your 5 minutes back. And that's something I'm going to start doing this year, because I've looked at it and I said, okay, this month has been amazing. Last month has been amazing. And I want more people to get this, and at least have a copy of your report card, because it's just better for you to know, so that you can know what to do with the information you have. It's just better than not knowing anything at all that's going on. So I'm going to be doing some really deep dives. It won't be comprehensive. It will just be surface level, so you can get your feet wet, and then we can go deeper into it and then fix the root problem of anything that we find on your website. So whether it's a broken link, or if it's a slow page, or if it's whatever it is, we'll find it so that we'll make sure that you can get the best out of it, whichever platform that you use, whether it's Shopify, Squarespace, WordPress, Webflow, Magneto, or Magento, Tilda, Duda. It's up to you. It's all on you. It's all for you. So I hope you also give me information that I can help you with. And I'll be able to give you that in return and give you the best exchange of your time. So I'm looking forward to this experience. And that won't be the last one. There'll be more like that. But if you want us to get and skip the line, please, the link is available above. I also send out emails and they're very detailed. Very detailed. So if you want to get information on insights on SEO, marketing, AI, I send out tools, I send out some scoops. So you can also check out and get some exclusive news before things drop. Then the link above is your best friend. So I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you. Have a blessed day. Stay warm wherever you are. Stay hydrated. Stay blessed. And I'll see you guys in the room tomorrow. If you have reached this point of the episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I hope this has helped you, given you some insight, because every time I come on here or anytime I bring somebody on here, a guest, a speaker, anyone that is of relevance to you listening is always going to give you educational value, definitely entertainment value, and most importantly, empowerment value. So thank you for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show every day. And if you want to reach out to me, you know where to find me. Click the links in the description or go to info@playinc.online, info@playinc.online, and book a call. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk SEO. Let's talk marketing. Let's talk business. Let's talk scaling. And I look forward to meeting you and learning more about you and your business. Till we meet in the next episode, have a blessed evening. Have a blessed day, night, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye for now. And don't forget, Jesus loves you.